Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. So today we are going to continue speaking on the Quran and science. This heading actually should be different than Quran and cosmology, but we are going to be covering the same subject anyhow of the universe, how it is a finite, that it's limited, it's not an infinite universe. And we did speak a bit about it last time. So in Khalifa Rabi Rahmanullah's book, he spoke about entropy and the finite universe. And just to sum it up, he, in his own words, Khalifa Rabi Rahmanullah's own words, he said that about entropy in the finite universe, that whether one is able to understand this mathematical jargon or not, of this one must be certain that the universe is constantly losing something which can never be recycled. It can never be added back to the mass of the universe again. Having explained the entropy enough for the purpose of this book, we now draw the attention of the reader to its inevitable conclusion. Prior to the full comprehension of entropy, the majority of scientists had believed that there was no need for a creator because all forms of existence continue to exist eternally. Now, a better understanding of entropy has revolutionized this view of at least some of the members of the scientific community. The rest somehow avoid confronting the problem. Eternity can be examined in its relation to the past as well as to that of its future. The scientists who believe matter to be eternal believe it to be eternal with reference to both its past and its future. This means that when we look back, no point can be conceived as the beginning of anything that exists. Eternity has no beginning, nor has it an end. So Hazur is just saying here that in the beginning, that to introduce this, that scientists were, in the belief that, or trying to have that belief that there is no creator of this universe because it is eternal, and because this new idea of entropy, that the components in of this universe, the mass of this universe slowly is giving out energy, and that energy that it gives out, it finishes, and it slowly is decreasing. So because of this concept, or this which they believe to be proven to be true in science, that this proves that there had to have been a creator of all of this, and and it will at one point finish. So anyhow, Hazur says that thus the scientific myth of the eternity of matter has been exploded out of existence by the discovery of the principle of entropy. Even if this universe were somehow conceived to be eternal, it would continue to lose its mass incessantly under the effect of entropy. Logically, this can only mean that it should become non-existent at a time eternally remote from us. Looking back at the past from any point in time, eternity will appear as endless as it would appear when viewed from another point in time. In other words, eternity can never be chased to any moment in time beyond which it does not exist. Anyone can imagine himself chasing eternity backwards in time, even if he travels in the direction of the past for trillions times trillions of years. Sitting on the shoulders of light, he could never find its other end. If he did, he should rest assured he was barking up the wrong tree, it was not eternity he was chasing. Now imagine, just a minute, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Now imagine him once again traveling backwards to search a universe. If he ever finds him once again traveling backwards in search of a universe, if he ever finds one, eternity would snatch it away from his hand and shove it back onto the path of endlessness yet again. A difficult idea to conceive, but in reality it is quite simple and easy to understand. If such a hypothetical traveler in time finds any trace of the universe, he should inquire from himself as to why this universe had not dwindled out of existence long before he had caught up with it. The traveler could easily work out that beyond that point in time, entropy had enough time left to swallow an endless number of universes. Imagine a colossal figure big enough to accommodate a myriad of gigantic time steps and try to fill eternity with them. The figure will most certainly come to an end, but not eternity. Even if entropy required a trillion raised to the power of a trillion years to bring about the heat death of the universe, it would still be inevitable. Now turn from this hypothetical pursuit into the past to the present and inquire from yourself, why does this universe around you exist at this point in time? Should it not have been completely destroyed by entropy so that it could not have continued to escape detection during its flight into the endless past? Yet there is another point to be borne in mind. Entropy or not entropy, or no entropy, the theoretical scientists who once believed that protons were ageless have reached a consensus of opinion that protons too have a definite span of age which they cannot transcend. Whether their age is 1032 or 1034 years is immaterial, even if it were estimated to be 100,000 raised to the power of 100,000. If they were ever created, they would still come to an end at last. If they were never created, however, and existed eternally, then the hand of entropy should have annihilated them an endless number of years before. Waste. So the concept of the fact that Hazur is talking here about the fact that entropy exists, and because it exists, so the universe should have already come to an end. So that means that there must be a creator of everything, must be supplying the energy for like resupplying the energy which is already lost. Otherwise, there's no explanation for, or there's no, in the entropy concept, there's no mass that can be reintroduced once it's gone. So once it's gone, it's gone. So Hazur is, the underlying meaning here is he's showing that there has to have been a creator who has created everything and is sustaining it. And then he says that wastefulness and eternity cannot go hand in hand. Everything wasteful must come to an end, but lo, we are here, both the writer of these words and the reader at this moment in time. The universe which gave birth to us has no right to occupy this point in time along with all the inanimate forms of existence if it were eternal. Some may find it perplexing, but it is simple question of mathematical equation. A wasteful body cannot be eternal. If it is eternal, it cannot be wasteful. The only opinion left to us is to believe in an eternal creator who is beyond and above the reach of entropy and wastefulness. Surprisingly, this is the same inescapable conclusion which was drawn by Aristotle 2,400 years before us. It remains as valid today as it was during his time. So this is very, very, very clear, and this concept was even by Aristotle, that this world is a world which has waste and comes to an end, and this is it could only be a creator could have only created everything. Now, Hazur said, then goes on to say that for the sake of further elucidation or explanation, we return to the scenario of the Big Bang, perpetually giving birth to a new universe after it has swallowed the previous one. So he's giving an analogy of it continually happening, so that the universe dies and then again it gives a rebirth continually. The point to be emphasized is simply this: every time a gigantic black hole pulls back the universe into its abysmal depths, it cannot pull back the quantum of energy which has been thrown out of circulation by entropy prior to this event, nor can it feed back to the universe at the time of its explosion the same amount of mass it has swallowed. The unbelievably large forces at work beyond the event horizon accelerate the rate of loss by entropy by the same proportion. So the emerging mass from the event horizon on a new day of the creation of the universe would be certainly less in mass than that which had sunk into it. That portion of it having been devoured by entropy is forever lost. Hence, at every new eruption of the universe from a new black hole, just lost my place here. The universe thus created has to be smaller than the preceding one. Eventually, this phenomenon cannot go on repeating itself endlessly. It will be reduced to a size at long last, which may not have sufficient mass left for it to collapse into another black hole. So this concept of eternally creation of the universe after it's sucked into a black hole is not possible, because it will keep losing its mass and it will one day finish. So Hazur says that will that tiny leftover continue to exist eternally? Certainly not, is the answer. All this is left of anything would be finally finished off by entropy. It would happen thus because if there is no creator, no beginning of the universe can ever be visualized. If no beginning for it can be visualized, then it has to have existed eternally. But the factors mentioned above would have completely annihilated it forever before this moment in time. Every finite thing has an end and should have disappeared into the bottomless pit of eternal nothingness. If so, there is no justification for the existence of anything today. How could we have survived the all-smiting hand of entropy, which spares not? If annihilated once, how would we materialize yet again from the limitless void of nothingness? It is the eternal creator alone whom the hand of entropy can never touch. So there has to, Hazur, I mean, this is a little bit complicated to understand. If someone is really interested, they can go to the pages and read this book on entropy in Hazur's book. But Hazur is trying to emphasize here that, which I already mentioned, to make it more simple, is that the creation because everything in creation it comes to an end, it dies, it loses mass, so on and so forth. There has to have been a source of life for which it came into existence. And then Huzur is just stressing here that this goes completely against the concept that the scientists have, that we are living in an eternal universe. That is, that a universe that exists on its own and will continue to exist on its own. And it has a point in in time in the past when it was created, and neither in the future when it will come to an end. It would just it's been constantly there if you understand the concept of eternity. Then he goes on to say that his form of existence has to be completely different from the everything else which has created or will ever create. The moment he is conceived to have created any substance like unto him, his substantial existence cannot be proclaimed as eternal. Hence, when we talk of black holes or entropy, we talk only of the creation and not the creator. Whatever is created cannot make the creator. He has to be the prime cause of every finite creation. So this goes back to Surah Al-Ikhlas, when we were studying that in depth about the final ayat, which talks that there is none like unto him. And also it says that the creator doesn't, lam yalid wa lam yulad, does not, he is not created, nor is he, he's not given birth from any God like him, nor does he give birth to any God like himself. So this is what Huzur is saying here, that a God, a God which is a creator, does not create like himself, because if he did, then he, being the creator and the infinite eternal creator, the eternal creator, if he created another like himself, then he wouldn't be eternal, because there would be another one like him. So we have to understand that what God has created in his creation is just his creation. It's not him, it's just his creation. And there is a difference between these two things. And when we already covered that in quite some depth in Surah Al-Ikhlas in my dars in the past, about the distinction between both of them, and that surah goes beautifully to describe that. Continuing, Huzur says that the event of the ultimate black hole exploding asunder into yet another universe requires the scenario of a shut universe. So Huzur now he's going to be talking, about how the Big Bang had happened, that the Earth is going to be expanding. The universe is going to be expanding, and the scientists they believe that there is this open universe scenario that it just keeps on expanding and expanding, and that it will at one point get so large in its expansion that it will not collapse back on itself into another black hole. But according to the Quran, which we went through before in the creation of the universe, and the verses, the actual collapse of the universe will happen again, and this is what Huzur is talking about here. It will happen again, and out of that there will be, another creation, another Big Bang that will happen when all that mass is collapsed into itself and tightly, round up into itself. It will then again explode into another Big Bang. But Huzur, he's saying that even if we were to imagine that the concept which the scientists believe will be an open universe which will will keep expanding, Huzur says that if you apply the concept of entropy, that mass will eventually, the mass which is leaving, that it will eventually come to an end at one point, even in this scenario. So with that, Hazur, he finishes by explaining here that in the Holy Quran it says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بديع السماوات والأرض. He is the prime cause of creation, who created the heavens and the earth. So it was, in explaining all of this, we can understand from this verse from the Holy Quran that there has to be a prime source of creation, a creator who can give that life to everything that we see in this existed universe. And that's exactly what the Holy Quran says. And then the next verse, he says that everything which began from him must come to an end, but not him. So not he, not Allah. So everything else will come to an end, but not Allah. So in the Holy Quran it says, كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام. All that exists upon this earth is to perish, except for the countenance of thy Lord, the possessor of glory, the possessor of honor. So we went into this. I tried to go through it to explain it a little bit. It is a fascinating theory and concept, and not actually, I shouldn't say theory, but it's actually proven theory that the scientists have come up to understand about the universe, that it will ultimately finish due to entropy. So this is something, if we understand, we can have a better understanding of the creation of the universe, and we can we can better explain to people as well how everything in the universe had to have come from a source which is non-perishable, a source which is not does not lose its energy. It's not wasteful, because when Hazur basically, if you summarize everything in the theme today, and what he was saying is that the fact of the matter that everything in this world dies, it falls apart, it crumbles. It could not have created this perishable thing, could not create itself. In fact, it should have, as Hazur said, things in this universe should have been finished long before, because they need to have a source of life, a main source of life, where the Quran says a prime source of creation. And that's where when we studied the Holy Quran, Rabbil Alameen, he is the Lord and sustainer of all the worlds. He continues to sustain and give life back into the universe. And when we start to think and we start to ponder over this, then we come to the realization that there needs to be a creator. Let's just think about, for instance, I just drank some water because my throat is not, I have some problems speaking, right? But I also need to drink that water to replenish my liquids. And I also need that to maintain my ability to think, my ability to move and to do things in the day. I also need other foods and nutrients. We all need everything in this, if you see in this world, it all needs something to be to sustain itself, because it on its own, it will come to an end, or it cannot sustain by itself. And the ultimate, sustainer, the ultimate provider of all these things has to be something which is eternal, meaning that it does not die, does not become, is not like affected by the loss of energy, which needs to be replenished by something else, the way we replenish ourselves. There has to be something which gave birth to all of this creation, which is beyond the creation. It is actually the creator. It does not suffer any weaknesses. It does not suffer the loss of energy. And in fact is eternal in the sense that it is self-sustaining, and it does not need anything to sustain itself. So we're going back into the commentary of Surah Al-Ikhlas, this subject is actually can keep going and going and going. But I tried to bring this theory ahead because it is very important to try to grasp it, to try to learn it, to try to understand it, so that you can understand Allah and His creation more better, and be able to really know the Holy Quran, that the Holy Quran is a book which does actually explain the Creator. And once you do understand the Creator perfectly, then or the best that you can, you will improve your faith and your understanding, and you'll be drawn more towards Him, the Creator. Jazakumullah. Thank you for everyone for being here. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.